Right. This VOD was submitted by Squishy. He's a plat main tank player, so he plays Rein and Winston, and I've been dying for a Rein VOD around this elo, because the whole reason why I started doing like reviews is I have a friend that plays Rein at this level, and I'm like, there's so much you need to learn, but he's just too busy he doesn't have the equipment to record, and just so busy. It is PC, so I know a lot of people in this Discord, if they're even watching this, is console, but I don't mind doing PC. A lot of people, though, look down on us console players. They think that because we don't play with a mouse and keyboard, that somehow we don't understand positioning and, any game sense, but this is not the case. Those definitely transfer over. It's just what input you have, and aiming is faster on PC, there's no doubt about that, but movement is a little bit easier on console because of the joystick, and it's not WASD. But anyway, so let's take a look. Looks like you're gonna stick with this comp. Just make sure.
Justice will be done.
Lazy Turtle, do you want tank? I can play support.
Yeah, so it looks like they're gonna stay on this. So double main healer. So there's a lot of healing out of here. At least Anna has a little bit more utility than, like, let's say a Mercy. So anti-heals could be really big. I mean, it is really big. If she can land antis, that's great. These are definitely two tank healers. But your DPS have their own self-heal as well. So this is a very sustainable comp. Rein, Zarya, Soldier, Reaper. This is a pretty good comp. Reaper is obviously not as meta, but I mean, one, it's plat, and two, you're not a pro, or no one's a pro. You really shouldn't care about metas until you start playing on teams. So in competitive, Reaper is completely fine. So as Rein, you want to obviously be working with your Zarya, trying to swing when she has bubbles, and when she doesn't have bubbles, kind of hold shields for the Soldier and the Anna to shoot through. But yeah, we'll see what you do.
I can go healer.
Hello there. Hello.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Oh, are you looking at? I think you had like 3 main tank players in your team, but it's plat. It's whatever. Oh, this is really good.
Hello.
I don't see often in plat, and honestly, I didn't pick it up until I started getting into diamond. Getting early ult charge. No matter really what character you are, you should really be looking to spam the doors. The only person that does it a lot is Junkrat, who always was the trap and mine. But almost any character, as long as it's from a safe distance, can throw early damage at the doors to try to get early ult charge. So Ryan's going to throw a fire strike, Moira throws a damage orb, Soldier's going to shoot his rockets. There's Anna spots where you can throw the grenade up in the air, but this is really good tech that honestly not even really diamond players do. I hope you have spots on like every map. Like, I love Dorados. I think everyone knows that now, but when I first saw this, it was great. That little, when you're on the high ground defense, on the left you can see the front doors just barely, and throwing a fire strike right there can really catch people off guard. You're taking a little bit of trash damage there.
Lucius though. Run Spires down. Runs one.
It was
Go
unfortunate.
Ryan. HP.
So what was your team doing? It felt like you weren't as supported. Died like really quickly. So Zarya uses her bubble there. Gets instant charge. Puts a bubble on you. A little early.
Lucius though.
Yeah, so I think the only thing, like, I don't know where your team is. Reaper dies. That's unfortunate. And the Zarya bubble was early on you, so now you can't really get aggressive. And let's see. You're getting healed.
Run Spires down.
That's unfortunate. That the only small particular thing that could have prevented this death is not being as aggressive, because your Zarya didn't have a bubble, or counter pinning, and that would have been really good reactions to counter pin. You could have had it. I'm not going to say it would have been impossible, but it would have been really good reactions to counter pin that Rein to prevent this death. So those are the only two things that were going to save you. You weren't really out of position, and yeah, it's this is an unfortunate death. See, someone told you, no, it's more me shooting you and Rein about to charge. Left to say, best case here when I'm in the same spot I feel like it's about to be his death moment. Yeah. So you're kind of, like I said, you're being a little aggressive when all the resources that your team has is kind of gone. You're down a person, and you're down a Zarya bubble. Your Zarya has no bubbles for at least another 5 seconds, and another 6 to 8 seconds for you. So you really don't want to push into this choke. I would be like kind of like waiting here. The Rein doesn't have a shield, so Rein's and Plat. When they don't have a shield, they charge. Like, you're really gonna notice this. Like in Plat, Rein's charge when they feel like they can't do anything else. So if he doesn't have a Fire Strike, he doesn't have a shield, he doesn't have Shatter, he's like, well, I guess I gotta charge. Instead of like hiding back and waiting for a shield to recharge, or like not letting the shield break to begin with. So they'll do it when they shatter, they'll charge. Platinum Reins are charge happy. Super charge happy. And it can get them killed if you really play around it. So if you like had backed up here, because you're in the choke now, and like I said, you're down someone, you're sorry, no bubbles.
Runs one. Go run. HP.
It's just, I wouldn't have made this like, it was a horrible mistake. It's just, it's slight positional error. But only slight. Like, you should have just backed off a little bit.
Got a point.
And fallen back with your team.
Stay on point.
Oh, they're pushing. Oh, they're wasting ultimates.
Unlucky. It's cool.
Yeah, McCree wasted ult there. McCree is alright, so let's look at their comp for a second. Lucio, Moira. So the Rein should be worse than you. You should be able to mind game the hell out of this enemy Rein and beat him up. And their carry is going to be the guy he's with, the Diamond. And by focusing one of these people, either making the carry ineffective or completely shutting down the less SR or less experienced, or whatever you want to call it, player. Sometimes you have to figure out on the enemy team who their carry is going to be and focus more resources to shutting that person down. Because if they're allowed to, they're going to beat out their counter on a lower rank. So he's Diamond. So anyone that tries to contest him, like the other McCree, he's probably going to win that duel more often, which means you're going to have to put more resources into that duel or that matchup to make sure he doesn't pop off. Because once he beats the enemy McCree, then there's no really range to stop him. He taps your Ana, then you have lower healing, and suddenly it just snowballs from there. So most of their winning will probably come off of this McCree. I mean, he got the Reaper to start off at the beginning of the fight, and that's what caused the snowball. And so just recognizing things on the enemy team, like who's carrying them and how do we stop that from continuing, is something that you can really try to recognize. It's going to be hard to, like, as a team coordinate, but You know, you can't win every game, and let's say you lose every game like this. If you get a team that eventually coordinates, you don't lose every game. You win 2 out of 10, and suddenly you slowly build up win percentage over some things. Now you're going triple tank.
I have Earth Shatter and then I'm going to switch to Monkey.
Goats, but
Yeah, triple
without
tank.
Lucio, Anna,
Ultimate is charging.
Moira.
I'm going to drop behind him.
Nope. So I don't know
Well, they know I'm here.
what you're doing here. Like, were you going for like a flank Reinhardt shatter?
Charge.
Because like right here, you see the McCree. McCree's gonna see you. So jumping down here,
I'm going to drop
really.
behind him.
But one, I wouldn't really done this. But two, McCree wasted his flash. Does he have support? Like, once I'm here, just destroy him. He has no flash to swing on him and kill him, or get out of there. Like, all right, so he's retreating to his team because he knows he can't beat you. So he's like, I don't want to face this anymore. I have no flash, and he walks away. But I don't know why you stay here, because like that red shield is what they're seeing over here. So you're not sneaky. They know you're there. Yeah, you charge back to your team.
Take that shield.
Go around, go around, go around.
Nice.
Nice
Go on.
counter.
Oh, I knew he had it.
I'm out of heal.
So that shadow was iffy. Like on your flow feedback, you say, let's see, let's go down. I wasn't being over aggressive here despite nano, as I knew their Rein had shatter and then spot their team with a split to go for it on unprotected pair. That's not a bad idea. I want to say this is a bad idea, but the only thing what makes it bad is that what is the follow-up to this? Now they're in mid beat, so maybe it's a little early, but if you had like some follow-up, like a rocket barrage or something, but who's following up? They're behind a wall. No one really wants to flank around this corner to try to kill these people because the rest of their team is blocking us to the right, you know, and sure, you have a nano, so you're taking less damage, but they're not going to. None of your healers want to take this corner to heal anyone that's going to go over here. Like, it would be dangerous for them to follow up on this damage, on this shatter. So really all you do is kind of take these people out of the fight for a little bit. Like, your diva goes in, like, and look how low she already is. Like, going this way was really, no one could follow up on it. That's what I'm saying. If your McCree was on the high ground and had high noon, that would be good. That would be good because you'd knock down the diva, so because you couldn't defense matrix it. But you don't really know what the follow up for this is, so that's what makes it a bad shatter.
Correct. Oh, I knew he had it.
Yeah, and you said you knew he had shatter, which is good. Like, if you get nano, but you have other responsibilities, it's not your job to try to make something out of Anna's mistake. You know, if Anna nanas you, but all you can do is be shield man, and that's what you should do, and that's what you think you should do, that's what you should do. You know, just forget you have a nano and play right, because 2 mistakes is worse than 1 mistake. Because if you had played aggressive and he shattered you, he would shatter your whole team because your whole team's behind you. Again, the Creek gets your Anna, and Tyre got this, so that does Arya.
He had it.
I'm out of heals.
I don't even know if that Rein landed a shatter.
Back up, back up. Back away.
Are you gonna get out?
Mouse.
Wow, they are not aggressive at all. So this worked, falling back. But they have a diva. I guess the McCree's dead, so they are missing range. The Junkrat did use Tyre already. Yeah, but just know, like, and they have a Lucio speed boost. If they were smart, they would have speed boosted into you to stagger you. So I don't know if backup was the right call here. I'd rather have died on point and then regroup to push out and contest them when they're around on bridge. So you're lucky that this happened, that they didn't punish you, but a more coordinated team would punish you, which means, let's say you got up into diamond, like, they would Lucio speed boost into you and completely destroy you.
Ultimate's ready.
But this Lucio is trying to be boop Lucio and trying to boop you off the edge instead of speed boosting his tanks into you, which allows your team to regroup.
I'm reloading.
That sucks. And you talked about this too, right? I kept pushing into their team. Let's see, he on his flow to be back. I kept pushing into their team despite the Diva Bomb, which had forced my healers to find cover and meant I got no healing. Perhaps I should have backed off when the Diva Bomb went over my head. Yeah. And then someone, well, see, Space Clown says, initiation was problematic. You had low shield and walked into a spot where you were clearly surrounded by enemies. You launch your Diva last died. Get the point probably. You're initiating short-handed fight near the bridge with Lucio hunting for boop kills. Best thing to do is concede. All the way to the checkpoint in the ring gauge 6v6. Conceding here is too late. Like, conceding here and just dying, I mean, it's basically giving up the point. I wouldn't necessarily. You should have conceded and died on point way earlier. Because if you did, this fight would have gone a little bit better. Once you found yourself in that position, that was really tough. The only way to understand, like, to kind of prevent that was know they have Diva Bomb. So tracking ults is something you probably should be working on. Because you did track the enemy Rein shatter, but that's I'm gonna say that's easy for a Rein to track the enemy Rein. Like, oh, I have shatter, he probably has shatter. That's pretty easy. Try tracking some other ults like Trans, like Diva Bomb. Because, like, if they have Diva Bomb, there's the Diva Bomb over the head and then shatter from behind. So if you know they have shatter and Diva Bomb, you got to be looking out for that. And so once this Diva Bomb flies over your head, you're really in a bad spot because your healers are going to be looking for cover. You're surrounded by the enemy team, and you can't really turn around to shield the bomb because you're just gonna get fucked in the back. And if you might have been able to charge back quickly to, like, and hit some edge quick enough to turn and then shield the bomb. Like, this would have been a really good play of you to be able to fall back to your team and shield. So, like I said, the only way to prevent really this would have been to be tracking ults.
Careful.
Or maybe, like, and I say this in, like, what you could do better. Your Zarya might have been able to bubble you while you turn to protect yourself, but I don't know, like, I'll be honest, I haven't seen your Zarya bubble you very often.
Nice.
Winston. Looks like JC is gonna carry you out of this.
Diva.
This way.
This one. Nice.
Where I fed?
I would just communicate to your team that you're switching to Winston, because they still have a Rein, which means they're gonna get free shatter every time, which isn't bad. Like, people run dive into Rein Zarya all the time. You just gotta know that Rein's gonna have a free shatter, so you really gotta be tracking that ult and spreading out when you think he has it, and not let him get a good shatter off.
Let's just group up.
Yes. Don't push too much. Okay. I think they will come behind.
McCree's down there.
I am ready to unleash coalescence.
My ultimate's charging.
My ultimate is ready to be on.
McCree's going to the
Reload,
other
they're
side.
pushing.
Oh Jesus, that's scary.
Monkey.
He's healing. On point.
Oh, that's scary as hell.
My ultimate's charging.
Alan,
My ultimate is ready to be on.
McCree's going
Hey,
the other
they're
side.
pushing.
Monkey, I can
He's
kill
healing.
you.
On point. McCree low. McCree one.
Go, 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 go. Nice.
Fine low.
Oh no. Nice. Job.
Nice. Played. Just wait for Anna to respawn, don't waste your resources on it.
You should be getting some like scouting information. You're a dive tank, and you're just standing on payload. Like there's tons of people on payload. This is a thing I think tons of people have, is that when a payload is really close to the point, no one wants to get off of it. But as Winston especially, it's really not your job to babysit the payload. You and Diva should definitely be like on this high ground, getting intel on where they're coming from, which what they're doing, and how they're planning to attack you. You're also not pressing tab enough, so like after this fight, I would especially be thinking that they might be changing some things up, and you're not looking at tab to see what they're changing you, because you changed to Winston and it worked out for you. So my thought process would be, a DPS on the enemy team might be thinking, well, they switched to Winston, so I'm going to switch to Reaper. So you need to be looking at these things to see how they're planning to counter you. Because you've changed, you thought of a change, one, so they might think of a change to counter your change. And like, you can definitely be scouting more. You chased a McCree at the beginning of this. That I don't know, I didn't hear a call out, but you somehow knew he was there, so maybe there was a call out, you saw something. But you put yourself in a small corridor alone, and especially with Winston wants to be doing things as a team, or like just getting massive cleave from like a safe position. So yeah, getting the high
Right.
ground. Oh, there was a tab. Did they change at all? No, they're staying the same.
Come behind us.
Maybe left
I
side,
got-
left side.
Ooh,
High
geez.
ground, guys.
Monkey, come back.
So they completely caught you off guard here. So this is definitely a scouting error. You saw there was none of them there. And, you're not the only one that scouts. So, you're here, you're looking, you're like, I don't see any of them. So I'd be asking my team, where are they? Where's the team? Where's the Rein? Where's this? Where's the McCree? And they're able to sneak up on you. A Rein was able to sneak up on a Winston on high ground. Like, that shouldn't happen. So this forces you to use ult immediately, not in I dive in, do tons of damage, have a second life with my ult, and do more damage and then get out. No, you had to use your ult to like defensively. So this is a scouting error that forced you to use your primal early and basically get less value out of your life here.
Mara one.
That's pretty good though. That was really good, focusing down one target, especially a squishy.
And one.
Not dead.
Ooh,
Oh,
jeez.
whoa, I
You
got
got melted. You and Diva both got melted up there. Let's try to watch that again. I keep hitting my mic. Missed my jump on the back of the bridge, so I assume this one. I want to get back to the bridge.
Nice monkey.
Yeah,
And one.
Not dead.
Oh, whoa, I got melted.
so if I had gone back to my team instead of feeding, I could have blocked the Diva Bomb. It would have had been a winnable fight. Yeah. I was thinking after getting that McCree, I want to get back to my team. But I wouldn't say it was awful to go aggressive.
Oh no, dude. Very good, guys. Very
We have time
good.
to respawn a little bit.
Yeah, there's gonna be a trickle fight. Junkrat thing. Oh.
Fuck. I got trapped.
Almost had Diva bomb.
I am ready to unleash your lesson.
You have to stay on behind.
I mean, that was just desperation slash
Good old, good old.
holes, so there's
Let's go back,
nothing
let's go
else.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like you understand this map very well, at least with your hero pool pick, because Ryan is really good on first and last, and Winston is very good on second, because you know the high ground is just so important there. The only problem with Plat, and you're really going to have to play around this, is that as Winston, you're not as like scary, I guess to say, when alone. Like when Winston dies, the enemy team, if you like, you can make so many errors as Winston, thinking you have to dive the enemy team, and you'll just get wrecked because you're all alone and feed. Where Ryan really can't do that. I mean, he does sometimes when you charge, but that's easier to curtail than Winston jump, because so many people think they have to do it as Winston. They just aren't figuring out a way. But for you, you did pretty well. You stayed on the high ground. You got caught out on the high ground, which was a mistake. Like, you shouldn't have that. But your Winston play there was pretty good. You kind of stayed on the edge, getting as much cleave as you can. You focused down the squishies. You only made a few mistakes, like, and they weren't that major either. Like, going back with that Winston leap wasn't awful. You just got melted. I mean, you had 500, almost 600 health. I would have also expected to be able to, like, poke a little bit and jump back. So, I don't know. It's just an unfortunate, like, event that I don't think you should worry too much about. I wouldn't say, oh, if you're Winston out with Primal have 600 health, you can't go poke at him a little bit.
Hold on.
Was that necessary? So you did that at the beginning too, taking Junkrat spam with your shield. Don't waste your shield so much, because it is so useful. You gotta. It's not as important as a Diva defense matrix, but like that's what was that grenade gonna do? If you had not done anything, put your shield up, that grenade would have done 0 damage. Now that grenade got value and did damage to your shield. You'll probably get it back up before the fight starts, but every bit of damage can lose you the shield war. So yeah, okay, so they switched to Brig. You press tab, but you aren't saying anything to your team. Like, so like, here you should be saying they switched to Brig, which sucks for you, but there's nothing else. You went Doomfist instead of the Zarya, so you have a... Well, they also don't have a Zarya either. Definitely the Zarya, whatever team had the Zarya would be definitely in a better position here. Because Diva can't really get an angle in this room. Like, where is she going to fly to that is safe and kind of like can poke from a high ground and then pounce on someone? Like, she's going to... she either feeds or just kind of uses defense matrix a little bit and waits and waits. Whereas Zarya can get a lot more value. I like, you know, pros are doing Doom a lot now. But against Junkrat, that's going to be tough. That guy's got to be good to be able to outdo a stun, and a trap. And then just massive mind damage too. Like that's an iffy one too. Good Dooms can do it. Like, Doom is just ridiculous, but...
My ultimate is ready to
Diva back up.
And your Diva feeds.
We have to back up. Down.
Alright, so Yeah, you need to back off. You need to back off, like, so you didn't follow your own advice. And that brig, like, as soon as you see this brig here, that brig is going up top. Like, you see that brig right there? As soon as you see this brig, you do not want to be in your ear, because she'll stun you and then whip shot you into your into her team. It's like, oh god, she's jumping down, and you're like, I need to go on payload.
I can't heal you, man. Oh.
Like, okay, so you say I initially backed up because we lost our diva, and I didn't want to start 5-6, but then I went brain dead and re-engaged. Yeah, so at least you recognize it. You recognize that this was a bad play that you went forward. It's unfortunate. Like, I see this in a lot of people too. Is that, and when I watch a lot of pros, GMs, they're so patient sometimes. Like, the lower down the elo you go, the more people want to fight, and it goes to trickling, or it goes into going too early and doing bad things. So you gotta really get out of the habit of, well, I'm not doing anything, I need to get value now. Like, if that thing pops in your head, you gotta think, do I really need to? Is that a good idea? Because sometimes you have to just back off and, like, give them some push for free so you can fight a winning fight. So this is unfortunate because both the tanks died early.
No.
Yeah, and they just snowball the hell out of you. So diva feeds, you feed, and then your team is stuck.
Unleash coalescence. Surrender.
Wow, everything's just going wrong here.
Maybe switch DPS.
Honestly, we didn't see a lot of Rein from you because even though you spent 2/3 of the map as Rein, your team just got snowballed each time. Your Winston, so it's the one that we saw the most out of, and it was again good. A little bit
It's okay, guys. We've got this.
positioning errors where you needed to be on the high ground and scouting and seeing where they're coming from. I don't know how you do Winston, like, kind of divey, because you didn't really communicate to your diva, like, I want to dive this target, I want to engage on them. You always waited for them to engage on you, and you should really be looking to engage on them, because if you let them engage on you, they get to do the fight the way they want to. But if you jump on them, or, like, pick off their Ana, like, you saw that Ana alone before they attacked you up top. You could be like, and the Moira orb came at her.
Maybe Moira.
You could maybe have dove onto her. Just a thought, like, your communication is not really about what's going on in game. You don't talk about ults. You don't talk about, like, how you're gonna fight.
There's a Junkrat trap house.
Like, you don't, like, Junkrat trap, so at least you can do that. But you don't talk about changes in their comp or anything. So you can probably improve your communication a little bit. You did a little bit of target calling when you're on Winston, but you didn't do it beforehand, like before you jumped in, like especially when you had a diva. And yeah, I don't think you did it at all as Ryan, but again, we didn't. Like, you got snowballed. Like, you literally got charged, dead, lost point, switched to Winston. When you lost the second point, you switched to Rein, diva feeds, and snowballed after that. So
Side Spondo.
there's not much to look at that. Just 2 deaths.
Could we
Save
save
for first trap.
the Bastion? I think it's better with the Farah. I mean Hanzo.
After hearing all
So,
of Reinhardt's story,
Bastion,
I think
Bastion
you meant
Hanzo.
Hanzo instead of Bastion rather than Hanzo instead of Farah.
Okay, so you're gonna be a rectangular man. The Bastion will do most of the damage.
Where is our Bastion?
Well, that's to your right.
Got Lucio.
Nice.
Push it down, guys. Go, 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 go. Two picks. Go point, guys, go point.
More one.
I'm taking the point.
Come point, guys, come point.
McCree's
dead.
behind. Bastion worked.
You could have been. The only thing I would say about that fight is that you could have been a little more
So
aggressive.
far, good job, guys.
Is your Bastion in
Now we
chat?
can hit him.
I don't know. I didn't see the thing when you brought it up if he's in chat, but definitely he was not with the team. I put that more on the Bastion, but once you got that pick, you could have been more aggressive and gone through the choke. Let's see. This is 948. I couldn't work out where our Bastion had gone, so just pushed as I knew we had a pick. You were a little slow on that uptake. You waited for someone else to call it, but as soon as that you saw that Lucio die, you could have definitely pushed in a little more, especially because they were backing off. Dave asked, what I hate about Bastion picks as a Rein is I feel extra responsible for him. If they play bad Bastion, then it screws me up and I play worse. That's the same thing with like the Ana Nana boost I talked about. If they're playing awful, fuck them. Like seriously, like you have to play your game the way you think it's best to be played. So like I said, if that Bastion goes and does mad flanks, fuck him. Like seriously, it's not your job to hang out with him and be his shield. It's his job to be behind your shield.
Bastion, that's.
So
Ryan, you need to shield the Bastion.
no, kill people, kill people, kill people, kill
Oh,
people.
sorry, I had to swap through already, so.
You're dead.
There's a
Why did you leave that Zarya to like you kill people?
there was a door in front of him, so I went to get some more.
Yeah,
while he
but
wasn't.
you still listened to him. So like no, like this Zarya is free. You could have gone out way earlier.
Right, you
The
need to
Zarya
shield
is
the
so
Bastion.
free.
Just kill the enemy team.
You can't even leave.
Oh, just sorry, I had to swap through already, so.
So there's one thing you didn't call out McCree on high ground. Definitely could have called out because that's definitely something you're going to have to be worrying about.
You're dead.
But
There's
if that McCree's on high ground, your shield's going to do jack shit for this Bastion. Like you're either going to, especially with him this here,
There was a door in front of him, so
they're down a player, you're down a player, but they're down a Zarya. Why is he bubbling the Bastion? The McCree, I guess. But
I went to get some more.
Where's
while
that
he wasn't
McCree?
in the fight.
That Ana's free too. Like, look at this. I'd be up more. I'd be up, and this Bastion can do whatever he wants. Like, if you grabbed, I'm a more aggressive person as Rein. Like, if you were here, if you pushed up here, this Ana's cut off. Like, you can just kill her, and your Hanzo's coming back. Probably in the next 2 to 3 seconds. If you had that bubble too, like you could be pressuring this Rein. That McCree can sit up there all day because I mean you have nothing. You have nothing for that McCree. It's just a fact. You have nothing for that McCree. You have no mobility to go pressure him. The only person that could get up there would be the Hanzo, but he's dead, so he lost. Which means, and you got their Zarya, which means you got to push your advantage. Standing here, like just kind of like shielding and maybe, like if you shielded the McCree, this and I guess a sleep dart on the Bastion or lands a purple, I'd just be pushing up and hopefully the Bastion can fend off that McCree from the high ground because you're not really doing much.
Okay.
Shielding him now.
Anna right, Anna left.
I can't actually stand on that payload with you, Bastion. So
Yeah, just be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Stop being feeding ult charge to this fucking Junkrat. You're gonna take the spam whether you're here or pushing forward. That goddamn Rein is all alone.
McCree's still behind.
Yeah, see, and like no matter you were still here trying to shield, and it's like this is why like Rein's not that great on second, is because like no matter what you shield, that high ground's so high that you literally can only shield yourself, and that's basically it.
Oh, sorry, I thought.
Junkrat's one.
What? Don't.
Thank you.
Okay. So, bad charge because you ended up in this room. Like I said, be aggressive. You should have been aggressive way earlier, because they would have been down there. Zarya.
We're still behind.
You could have staggered this Rein.
Wait, oh, sorry. I thought...
You shield. Like, you have your healer. This Junkrat was right here for you to really just destroy. You wouldn't have died. And now he's getting healed.
Junkrat's one.
Like, what are you shielding? And then this charge is like, let's see, I shouldn't have charged here, as it makes me an easy kill. And leaves my team without protection. Protection from what? Like what damage? If you stayed with your team, what are you protecting from? The Junkrat was finally on the low ground. McCree, like, the team would have really had to like huddle up to protect from the McCree.
McCree's still behind.
And like the Bastion's already dead. The Hanzo,
Whoa,
I think, is
sorry.
fighting on the high ground. So you just have your healers.
Junkrat's one.
So this is what I would have done. I would have been aggressive already, but from here, charging this Bastion is fine. But hit him into this tree. Hit him in this tree right here. What kills you is going into this room. This is what kills you, because now your healers have no line of sight. You had the numbers still, and you're staggering the hell out of them. So you take the mayhem damage, and now this Rein and the Zarya cut you off from the enemy team. If you hit that tree, you would have, yes, they would have attacked you, but you would have been in line of sight of your healers, and the Zarya could have assisted you. She already gave you bubble, but she could have bubbled. I don't think she had bubble for herself. She kind of used that already too, but she would have been doing damage on them, and it would have been a lot better fight for you. So when you charge as Rein, you gotta also think where you're going and where you want to end up. It wasn't a bad charge in the sense of that you shouldn't have taken the charge. It was that you leaned to the right and went into the small room.
Thank you.
Guys.
Rein's one. Focus Rein. Focus
Keeping-
Rein.
keeping-
Shoot Rein!
Get a little upset.
Nice.
Sorry, you're purple, Bastion.
I'm back with Earthshatter. Split up. Nice.
Nice, Bastion.
Good job.
Yeah.
Bastion carry, guys.
Like you literally had a whole trickle fight on second. That's why you won. That's why I would have been more aggressive, because this team, the enemy team, was not grouping up. So if they're not grouping up, don't let them just passively group up, and just be aggressive. Call for your team to be aggressive.
Nice.
That's good. Let's kill the Ana.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, looking for staggers. Go kill that Ana.
Okay, for the last.
Go kill.
We,
Okay. That Ana is free. That is free kill on their main healer. So I understand not wanting to go completely in there, but at least call it out for your Hanzo to go after.
do the grab.
Like Jesus, why you could
Yeah. I have Earthshatter
push all the way up, even if you yourself didn't want to go up.
as well.
You could have gone up to here, right here, shield, have your Zarya with you, have your Bastion coming around this corner now, have your Mercy and your Moira, who's your second healer? I don't even know, and have your Hanzo go flank and kill that Ana, because like they don't have a main healer now. You've cut her off from her team, and you have tons of ults. Like, positioning here is a mistake, especially when you saw that Ana way out of position. Like, how is that an escape, Ana? Like, she should have ran back to her team. She went up there, and recognizing those things, like what's gonna win you the fight, that right there, that Anna's telling you, like, right now, I don't want to win this game.
There's a Anna kind of lurking behind, I think. Yeah, kill Anna, kill Anna, kill Anna.
She finally dies because she decides to run away at the worst possible time. And you just have a ton of ults, like I said, that you could have easily won the fight without needing your Hanzo there with you.
Good job.
Get a Zarya.
Miner behind.
Sorry, right side.
Lol. No, oh no. Oh.
Nice one.
We have like 5 minutes? 4?
Yeah, 5.
Score 3-3. Switching sides.
Hey, go May for defense.
Prepare your defense.
So she can block.
Select your hero.
Swedish. Ooh. Nice. Good go, Junk.
Pick a hero.
Soldier or McCree.
Pick a
Can you
hero.
press spam me?
Twips, pick a hero quick.
Incoming.
Nice.
You really got this down. So, getting early ult charge, very good. Going for the Mei strat, which means you can be pretty aggressive afterwards. You can bait them in by looking like you're passive, and then once the Mei wall goes up, charge right into that Rein.
Ooh, nice.
And you're already at 15% ult charge because of that fire strike.
There's smash up.
They're Tilly.
Teleport behind, guys.
Where is it?
So yeah,
Got it back.
you need to back off, yeah, your team.
I'm dead.
You can be a little bit more aggressive with that call, go to point, because your Zarya kind of didn't hear or didn't listen. This would have been tough too, because your team tried to engage them without you guys. They teleported in, at least some of them
Teleport
did.
behind, guys.
Where is it?
So your healers and your DPS are fighting without tank, but so is the enemy team. You
Got
get
it,
the
Mike.
first pick, but you take massive damage in your rotation. And they use the teleporter, I think, anyway. It's hard to see because you rotated the camera.
Teleport behind, guys.
Yeah,
Where is
the tanks use teleporter, so now you're way out of position. And your team, you say go to point, which is really for you and your Zarya, but your team's already on point, and they need to get off point. Your team needs to back off for you and the Zarya to get there and re-engage on them. So it's okay to give up some progress on it, and there's no way they were going to get one tick before you and Zarya got there. But your healers aren't paying attention, and you took massive damage from the Hanzo. Or something. I think it's a Hanzo. Yeah, Hanzo. They're discorded.
I'm dead.
And Jesus, where's the healing?
I have 7 HP.
The turret is OP. Rip.
So you just got outflanked.
The teleport.
That sucked. That just sucked. There's nothing you really could have done individually. That was a team thing. They had a plan as a team. They executed it, and they did it well. While your team just kind of was like existing and got a plan just shit all over them. So you gotta recognize quickly that they're using teleporter, where it is, and how to reposition yourself for that new flank. And everyone's got to work together, or it's not going. Someone's going to get picked. Your McCree actually got the first pick, but because they stayed there, your healers, your DPS, and everyone just got low really fast because the tanks weren't there to be able to tank things.
Or just destroyed us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna play Rein, Winston here. Oh fuck, the spawn room moved before I could change.
Then if we don't have Rein, they are free.
Go top.
It doesn't matter though, we just play split. Come to the bridge.
Top.
Start on high ground.
Good.
Oh,
Good pick,
nice.
good pick.
Now drop.
Yeah.
Fight in the choke. There's turrets behind. There's
Not really your
behind.
job. I know as a Rein who will walk through a choke and have sim turrets on his back and no one taking care of it. I know the feel, dude. I know the feel. But it's not your job. You gotta be calling it out like a healer calls out a Genji. Turrets. Kill the goddamn turrets. Someone else has to do it while you're shielding the front. Because if you turn around, your team's just gonna get picked. So, when you dropped, call out the turret, shooting you in the back. Someone else has to do it. And you gotta be able to shield your team from their team.
What is happening, guys?
I'm just gonna die on point here, I think. So I can switch.
You want to die slowly, though. You want to die slowly. On defense, you want to lose as slow as possible, and win as slow as possible too. Like on defense, it's all about time. It's all about time management. You want to win and lose as slowly as possible on defense. And on offense, you need to win and lose as quickly as possible. So use all your abilities, use all your stuff to try to survive here as long as possible. But dying on cart is not a bad call.
Yeah, let's group up.
And also try to build up your ult as fast as possible. But you're going to switch off anyway, so that wasn't a big deal to try to do.
Team kill, guys, and we got it.
Ultimate
Wait,
charge.
don't waste enemy ultimates. Wait for our time.
Maybe.
Can we rest?
No, you can't res that.
Oh, it's a you're skimming.
Behind them. I'm gonna go on Hanzo. Hanzo lay. Hanzo one. Hanzo got away.
You don't have
Hanzo's one, behind.
Trans is wasted, guys.
So you said something here. At this point, I probably should have chased the Hanzo. Or I shouldn't have. Oh, sorry. Perhaps I shouldn't have wasted time. I didn't have leaves, so I couldn't catch him up anyway. Yeah, chasing low health targets is you gotta make that decision quickly. If you could have killed that Hanzo while falling down, it would have been worth it and then leap back up. But yeah, it ultimately didn't work out. And with Hanzo's buffed strafe, like you really get, as a Winston, really gotta think about chasing a Hanzo once he uses it, because he jumps out of your range. And if you have no abilities, if you've already used bubble and if you already used jump, and I say bubble not because that bubble would have helped you there, but for damage wise, like leaving, let's say you put your bubble down, he jumps out of your way, leaving bubble leaves you exposed to his storm bow. So it's just an experience kind of thing of knowing if you can get him or not. And this is a lesson that you couldn't chase that one. So when Hanzo does his strafe or his leap or whatever it's called, you can't really chase unless you really know you can get him. Staying with your team just in the shield and kind of waiting for your cooldowns to come back probably would have been the better choice. But it's hard to tell what happened in that fight because you took yourself out of it.
I got them all in the grab. No. Thank you.
Oh, the turrets. Fuck.
Just regroup.
Okay, sorry, maybe swap. We will not get the ultimate again.
So you switched to a brig.
Sorry.
You didn't always have a brig,
I have ult now.
right? No, you had a Moira.
Yeah, we can just wipe them out. Make sure Diva doesn't eat it.
I don't think you'll have 6 yet.
We just clear the point.
Yeah,
okay?
you don't have
They've
6
had
yet.
overtime for ages. If they move off the point, we win. Barrows down. You need to use your mail quick. Are you gonna out?
Oh, you're taking too much damage.
Took massive amount of damage. I remember seeing something at this point. I probably should have. Jeez, no. Yeah, someone tells you to shave your shield. I've already pointed out that you take a little bit too much trash damage. I was pushing here aggressively because I wanted to get Mei into a position where she could ult the payload, but I died because it takes Yeah, and so that person said it is a good thought process having a plan, even a bad plan, working together. So two things is does the Mei really need you? Now if this is your win condition, you can get a good freeze off. So investing your life for it actually isn't that bad of a deal because you have spawn advantage. You're gonna have enough damage to follow it up if she gets a good freeze. The team will probably be all around it. The only problem I would say to do this better, if you're thinking about this, is that you let your shield take like 500 damage before you really needed it to take 2,000 damage. So it only took 1,500, and you didn't communicate it well. I don't know if I've heard the Mei. Yeah, Mei was in chat. That was the guy you asked if he wanted to go Rein. So tell the Mei what you're doing, because your whole thought process is this Mei needs to press Q. So you say that, but I died because she took ages to press Q. Then be saying, Mei, freeze him. Mei, throw it. Yes, I hear. She says my ultimate's right. He's like, do it now. Just like, not mean, but like, get her to do it. All right.
Go. Nice.
Sometimes like in Plat, people just need any encouragement to go. They just need to press W and Q. They just need the encouragement. So if you can be that encouragement, you'll win more games.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Okay, go Bastion again. Same,
Yeah.
Switching sides.
same tactic as last attack.
Prepare to attack.
Same attack as last time.
Select your hero.
Bastion's trying again. So he went right last time. It's not a horrible idea to stay with him, like I said, but it's not your job to stay with him either. If he wants to flank, he can flank.
Watch out if they have a Mei, so we don't push in like Ryan first, and then he got like behind the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we do instead, though? I never know how to like deal with that,
With a Mei Ice Wall?
other than just
How do
hope
you
that you guys stay
deal
really
with a
close to
Mei
me.
Ice Wall?
We'll stay
You
very
gotta
close.
you gotta get stay close and Lucio speed boost, dive, or die. Like those are the kind of two things I know. Is you gotta Lucio speed boost in and get most of your team through, or you really gotta bait it hard and not get stuck. That's a very risky play thing. So Lucio probably would be your best choice here.
Okay, there's Symmetra turrets above the door. If they have Symmetra, they probably don't have Mei. I'm gonna guess. If they have Symmetra and Mei, we should immediately switch the Hanzo to a Pharah. I'm just gonna kill the Symmetra.
They have Sim.
Nice.
So one's to the right.
Oh, we lost our Hanzo.
Do you not see that? McCree's to the right. Didn't call out. You already lost one. Like, you could really push onto this McCree, who's way out of position right now.
Oh, we lost our Hanzo.
They're Rissy.
Just play slow. Where's our Bastion? Literally, where is he?
You're too worried about that Bastion. Either he's behind you and you shield him, or he's not. Like, he's not. You already know that he's not. Like, you knew that to begin with. So, just play your game. Your shield's
Behind us.
super low. So before you even go in, your shield is now at 400 health. Like, you need to get through chokes fast. Even if you don't have a Lucio, you need to push in and use all 2,000 health to get past the choke. I know your Hanzo got picked off, and all you needed to do was make sure no one else died, in the sense of everyone else hide behind a wall while I shield our Mercy to res. Or, sorry, it puts a bubble on her to res. And then after that happened, push in and go left. Because I don't think your team could really push into this team right here, right now.
Eyes down.
Hey,
Yeah,
back,
and
back,
because
back,
you
with the
turn,
Rein.
because it's not your job to grab the turrets.
No idea.
As soon as you turn, you get melted.
Eyes down.
Hey,
That's
back,
why
back,
it's
back,
not
back,
your
on
job.
the Rein.
Someone else has
I
to do
literally
it.
didn't know where our bastion was at any point during that. I was looking behind me and he wasn't there. Oh, he went right side. Okay.
You have my thanks.
McCree left.
Not your
Turrets,
job.
guys, turrets.
Not your job.
Focus in. Focus in. Push past the. Oh,
No
Send
punch,
it.
no punch.
That was not a good sim ult at all.
run slow. On point.
Where's my team?
He's dead.
That's happened to me so many times. Where's my team?
No.
Your team went left. I think. We'll see. We'll see if you
Turrets,
can.
guys, turrets.
Focus in. Focus in. Push past the.
Yeah. So right now,
Send
I'm
it.
thinking I have my team because you saw the bastion. I think the Hanzo went to your right. So you're gonna hammer the hell out of this guy because his team is already down. What, 2 or 3? You have his Zarya. So far, that's fine decision making.
Run slow. On point.
And then you look and you're like, team. So this is communication and not your communication. It's just no one's telling you where they are. So this is unfortunate. Wow.
He's dead.
No.
The only thing is that you pushed in when you knew you didn't have a team. So
Push past
right now
the-
I'm thinking I have my team.
Run slow.
The only clue that should have told you that you didn't have your team with you was that Moira ulted and was aiming it that way. That's the only clue. And then here, I'm like, okay, where's my team? I'd back off because they still
point.
have a hog that shoots you in the back,
He's dead.
and you get melted by a hog.
No. Guys, we can't lose it.
Going to
Guys,
reset a little bit. Wait a little bit. Wait a little bit.
My ultimate is ready.
Play slow.
Yeah, so you only can do so much. You know, I see your comment, like I don't know what I could have done to rectify here. There's only small things you could have done that would have improved your chances, but I also would have been pushing up, and you could have backed off slightly, angled yourself so once you knew that information that I don't have my team with me, you needed to play slightly differently. Now you're going left because your team went left.
Break shift. Break shift. Break shift.
He's breaking it.
Use it. Use it.
Got them on. Push.
Okay, grab.
That's
Grab.
it, go, but
No, I don't.
Should have got them all, except half of the ones that were in front of me when I shot didn't go down. Fuck.
Okay, so you say I blocked 2 enemy ults and landed Earth Shatter, but we still lost the fight. Why? Where's Bastion? Sucks, but he lost for you here. I really dislike people blaming other people for why you lost fights or why you lost the game. It does happen, but there's always room to improve. So what could you have done differently? So 2 things. You did block 2 ults.
Shift. Break shift. Break shift.
But who did you block the ults for?
he's breaking it.
Use it. Use it.
So this is a good angle to block everyone. The Rein also shatters into you. You kind of moved quickly to the left to block shatter, but that opened up the window for this Deadeye to actually get your main healer, or one of your main healers, because now you have Moira Mercy, so you really aren't really running any defensive ult, which really sucks. But this McCree still gets value out of this, which on a healer, which is huge. So you didn't necessarily block 2 ults. You only blocked 2 ults for you and Zarya, basically. You protected these 2. So this is basically another choke, as you can see here. And your team is also over here. Your team's just too split, and you need to know who you're blocking and what you're blocking for. Like right now, you think, I need to block. You're blocking for yourself and hoping your team is kind of like stacked on you, instead of like trying to understand the way your team is playing and blocking for them.
Kill them all. Push.
Okay, grab.
No,
Grab.
and then, okay, so and then you ask why. Yeah, and landed Earthshatter, but still lost the fight. You also talk about the Earthshatter, that it doesn't get the people. But so I'm going to go ask a friend to help me out, and we're going to show how Earthshatter works, or to the best of our knowledge. Because yes, it's a bit buggy, but there were some things you could have kind of like learned from here. Because these are basically 2 walls, and they're definitely holding it back. Like, look at those shatter.
He's breaking it.
Use it, use it.
Oops. So let's. So, Hog is behind this thing. McCree's nowhere. Like, I don't know where he went, but he's gone, so he's not shattered. You get the Tracer, I think. There's a Tracer. And the thing, the Zen, it looks like the Zen should have been there, but he was over here to the left, and then kind of like jumped into the point. So.
Kill them all. Push.
So, it looked. Everyone came back after you shattered, and it looked like, why aren't these people who are standing now on my shatter should be down? Like, old Shatter probably would have gotten that Zen, because he wasn't in the cone when it started, but was like milliseconds afterwards, which in old Shatter, there's a lingering effect, would have gotten a Zen, but now, with new Shatter, there's no lingering effect, so it doesn't kill, it doesn't knock down the Shatter. So, alright, so let's go to the VOD that I have, and we'll talk about Earth Shatter. So I asked a friend to help me out. We're going to check out some Shatter stuff on Eichenwalde, just to kind of show how Shatter works. In your video, Hog, which I think is the most confusing one, I think was to you, didn't get shattered. And he was standing right in this little like cubby of the mech here. And you shattered right around here. So I'm just checking where exactly you shattered. It was around there, maybe a little farther back, but the cone was like not actually inside of the Hog. Alright, so I have my friend stand over here. And Shatter will climb 2 meters now. It used to be 3 meters. But in one direction, this thing doesn't exist. Like, watch. I can't even see the Hog yet. I can hammer him. So we'll check out this way. So it's only 3 meters. Now this is taller than 3 meters. Or 2 meters, sorry. 2 meters. So if I try to hammer here, it doesn't go through. Now, this shield actually is it's about 2 meters, and then up from the shield, it's about 2 meters. So you can actually climb up this shield and back down the side and shatter the Hog on the other side. So you really got to be looking out for that kind of thing, because Shatter actually is a little bit more consistent than it used to be, I think, about when climbing up things and when not climbing things. It's just that by doing that, making it more consistent, they actually nerfed its height, so it doesn't climb up as many things as it used to. So like I'm just gonna show like a bunch of things that kind of like it climbs up and doesn't climb up. Like, look at that.
Yep.
Like, you can climb up that table and then up that car and then back down.
Yep. I can barely see it. It should go through the payload, right? Yep.
So this doesn't actually shatter.
I saw that
Shatter
more
goes.
things go right up there.
Yeah, it only goes a certain distance because that edge right there comes back, and that's more than
Like,
like
you
that-
would get me
you
if I was
can't-
standing like...
So like the distance from the ground to that edge that it kind of has an overhang is more than 2 meters. But see, he's kind of going like the other edge of it.
You'd get me if I was right here.
You can hammer. You can kind of see like I can get him on that edge, but once it goes more than 2 meters, like distance drop, it can't go down it either. So it's both up and down 2 meters. And then just kind of like trying to get a sense of like 2 meters. Like that's too high right here.
Down these stairs.
Like just if he takes like a step down,
Greetings. Hello.
like just he's one step down. Gets him. So you can see kind of like where the edge is from here. It's about this tall, a little bit lower. So yeah, so that's just kind of like showing some of the how Earthshatter kind of goes up and around things, and the reason why some of the things that didn't get shattered wasn't actually because anything was blocking it, except for the leg of that other thing coming in that direction kind of blocks it because it's more than 2 meters. So the hog kind of survived, and I think you're a little bit. He might have been out of the cone. The Zen was out of the cone, and McCree was just gone. So I don't think you put yourself in a very small area that had very like sheer walls next to you to like shatter, but you were in that little small area, but the enemy wasn't. So like if you put the enemy team in like a small corridor that doesn't allow them to get out of, that's great. Kind of like King's Row second. That has very long line of sight, so a shatter there is great. Like with that, if they're pushed up, you can shatter the whole thing. There's nowhere for them to go. But you in that kind of small corridor with them like way spread out, it was really tough to get a shatter there. Okay, so I hope that helped understand Earthshatter a little bit better. So let's just continue on with the video.
Grab.
No, I don't.
Should have got them all, except half of the ones that were in front of me when I shot didn't go down. It's fucking bullshit.
You're getting a little tilted.
That ultimate is just completely broken.
We have the combo now though. They trans.
Yeah, you got combo.
Yeah.
You got huge win combo. As long as those two people are alive, Ryan and not Ryan,
Just what?
Zarya
don't
and,
have Diva,
and
so it's
Hanzo,
free.
Yeah.
you're gonna win. You don't even have to get
They're
a
all right side
master.
of point. Just go. Just use it now.
Hog has no thing.
No.
Ugh. So, wow. Alright, so. You're so focused on this thing.
Oh, they don't have Diva, so it's free.
Yeah.
They're all right side of point.
Hog uses hook. So Hog no hook. Right here. Right here. Now you're discorded, so you shouldn't be slamming too hard into him. But you swing a little bit and call the hell out of this Hog. Say, Hog no hook, Hog left, Hog, like this Hog is free.
Just go. Just use it now.
And they have the Moira there too, you see. There's turrets there too, that sucks. But your brig goes after that Hog. You're all like split off. And you go for like the worst part. Because those people are dead. Those people are dead. Like you didn't need to do that. The more dangerous person was that Hog.
One's in. Zen, right side. Right side.
Got triple.
Going, guys, going, go, 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 go.
We're all dead. Fuck!
Okay, Bastion, maybe swap. Yeah, just dying.
Speed, speed, speed. Speed boost. Speed boost.
You have no main healer. So, yeah, that's what I thought. You have no main healer, which means you can't get aggressive.
Swap. Swap, swap, swap,
Bastion,
swap.
come on, swap.
Okay, I'm gonna play Winston. Let's try something different.
Yeah, you got... Wow. So it looks like your team's getting a little tilted, not really knowing what to do. But you got no main healer. So it's gonna be really hard to, like, be a Rein Zarya into
I wanna jump on that
Rein
Zen.
Roadhog.
That's my... Agree one.
Going, going, go, 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 go.
On Zen. Zen. Zen one. Nice. Moira.
I actually really like the patience you have here. I would say most people would have used jump into the
I wanna
enemy.
jump
Like
on
most
this
people
Zen.
at your elo
That's my...
would have used jump here to, like, just to jump on something. But you're really patient here, and that honestly is really good. Don't even use jump here. You get cleave. You focus on the
Agree one.
McCree.
Going, going,
You're
go,
getting
go, go.
massive cleave on the enemy team. The only nitpick I can say here
On
is
Zen.
you should practice your jumps because you way over jumped, and then you didn't, like, I don't think you meleeed on the landing. So on Winston, that's probably what you should really be working on. Go into practice range and just practice your jumps and melee combos, like the landing while punching, because that'll do, I think, 80 damage or so, 70 damage. Not 100% sure on the numbers.
Zen.
It will really,
Zen one.
it'll do
Nice.
a lot of
Moira. Oh no, fade.
a lot of surprising damage, honestly, when you land on someone.
Moira, no fade.
Nope.
1 point.
Dead.
You also target call a lot better as Winston. Like in Rein, you didn't really target call too much, but then on Winston, you're, like, calling everything you're attacking, which is pretty good. Like, you know, no one else is calling anything else, so might as well call what you're attacking. But you're not doing that on Rein, which Rein also benefits from target calling, even more so when it's a ground comp. Like if people are ground comp and you are Winston, people can't really follow you to things, but as Rein, you can call out things. Like you really aren't on
No
Rein.
one. Let's just talk.
Nice,
Got it.
finally.
Like, I don't know if it's because you were winning that you called things out, but you didn't at all on Rein.
Okay.
They'll try to push us off. So stay on it.
My ultimate is charged.
So you're gonna be talking about ults, right?
Here's the plan. Brig, you're not allowed to leave the payload, okay?
My ultimate is
We can't leave it, we need to stay.
Yeah, but we only need one person on it for the overtime to stay. So Brig is the one that is definitely not allowed to leave the payload under any circumstances.
And then McCree gets picked.
Don't die,
Everyone
guys.
uses every ability at high noon.
One.
It sucks. No, he was always gonna have a free shatter with the Winston, you know, not being able to block. So you were able to track it when you were Rein, but it doesn't seem like you were able to track it when you were Winston. So ult tracking is something you should be working on too. Especially when you're in overtime like this. How are they going to get you off the payload? How are they going to win this? Because once they win that fight, it's over. Like every fight is
You
last
need to
fight,
have-
and
you
you
have to
really
arrange-
need to be paying attention to ults. And you know, not just you. I mean, the whole team needs to be doing it. But since you know the only consistent thing between all your games is you. You gotta try to do as much as possible for yourself.
They're just getting free shatter.
Oh, unlucky.
We have to rein because they're just getting free shatter.
And then so classic shot calling with hindsight. Find it annoying when teammates do that after being silent all game. So it sounds like this game tilted you a little bit because it was so close. And you're like so close to winning and getting SR. Like you're frustrated that you aren't winning these games, and then so on. So yeah, and it's like, okay, dude, like thanks for being in the discussion earlier, but you can't let it tilt you. Like I understand the frustration, but you gotta just like brush it off and just go next game, because these people, I hate when people say like, oh, I'm not climbing because of levers or because of this or that or the teammates I have when you're solo queuing, because the enemy team is getting those people the same rate as you. So if you want to climb, you're gonna have to you can't win all those games, but if you can go from a 0% win rate to a 25% win rate, you're gonna climb. So you can't let these people, you gotta have like the mentality like you're gonna get these people on your team, you're gonna have to deal with it, that's what comp is, and you can't let it frustrate you, because if you go GG next but you still hold on to the frustration from last game, it's gonna either you'll already start the next game tilted, or your fuse is going to be a hell of a lot shorter for next game. 19 deaths feels like a lot. 23 limbs not enough, but it was a long game. A lot of healing, so nothing was dying. You could have been more aggressive, especially on that one part where they were trickling on second, and then your team wasn't sticking together on your second attack, which was sucked, and you got steamrolled on first and third on your first defense. If you're playing Winston, if you see a healer, especially a Zen or maybe an Ana, you can dive them. Try to get high ground first and fall on them, so you have your jump to escape. With Ana, you gotta block the sleep dart and anti with your bubble. So your bubble is more to block abilities, not damage. And then use your leap to just fly back off onto the high ground. For this game particularly, what could have helped you win this game would have been ult tracking, better communication, and then pushing your strengths. So I'm not going to talk about really when you're Rein on your defense because you got steamrolled. Besides, you've recognized that you went brain dead after your D.Va fed, and you're just a little over aggressive on your hold on first point on your first defense. But your Winston was the most playthrough you had, so we'll talk about that. You didn't do a lot of scouting, and it punished you really hard. You could have been on the high ground looking to see where they're coming from, which way they're attacking, but a ground comp was able to, again, surprise you on the high ground. So you basically were blindfolding yourself until the enemy team attacked you. But you didn't make too many mistakes that were egregious. Again, like I said, communication, so you weren't communicating with other people who would attack, because Winston needs to attack with a team. He can't solo like a Rein might be able to. Winston really is more of a team person, so you had more communication with him, but you didn't have enough, especially discussing with your team what you're going to do. Then on attack, you're Rein, Winston. No, you're Rein the whole time, right? So you didn't push your advantage on your first attack as aggressive as possible. You tried to be shield man on the payload, and it wasn't working. Like it wasn't working because the McCree was on the high ground and Junkrat had high ground, and they were just bombing the hell out of you. But so you gotta recognize, like, their team was playing split. That if you being shield man wasn't really going to protect that bastion from anything, so you could have jumped on their other 2 people because you got the pick on the Zarya, and so there's 5 other people. I think 3 of them were on the high ground with the Moira, the McCree, and Junkrat. You can't do anything to them. Your Rein, your Zarya, and your Hanzo was dead. So you just should have pushed your aggression into the 2 people on the ground that had no support. If just push into them, kill them. Now there's 3 people on top that have to jump down to stop the payload or run away or just do some damage. But then you can be shield man and try to block as much damage as possible. But they kept trickling on you, and like, you really didn't, you were punishing it, but you weren't really punishing it. Like, that wasn't your objective. They just kind of like kept throwing themselves on you instead of you kind of like forcing them to be dead. They are forcing themselves to be dead. And then the second, you defended the second, and sound like a little bit of tilt was setting in. Your Mei strat is doing okay. But communication with the Mei to freeze them would have helped push her and let her know what you're doing. If you're dying because you're waiting for someone to do something, tell them what you want done. Alright? So, don't be so, don't be so polite, but don't be mean either. Just be like, Mei, press Q, Mei, freeze them, Mei, freeze them. I'm here, we're here, freeze them. Because you wanted to stop that payload as soon as possible. You had Mei ult. Just tell them that's what we're doing. So we're doing as soon as we have 6, we're freezing them. And so once you had 6, just like go, 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 go. Like, just be a little bit more active in your planning, like, in communicating your plans. Otherwise, your plays are good enough to climb. I think you just need communication, scouting. It's a little bit more game sense than mechanics. There are mechanics you can work on, like understanding how shatter works, understanding Winston leap and stuff like that. So I hope this helped. I hope I see you climb a little bit, because and put a little bit more aggression into your Rein, though we didn't see a lot of it. But just as someone, I love aggressive Rein, especially when you have a Zarya. You can be pretty more aggressive. Now, don't be charging off into Narnia, but there were times you could have been an aggressive Rein and you didn't take it. Maybe because you got punished right off the bat from being aggressive when you couldn't. So, good luck out there, and I hope this helped.